Hi everyone, welcome, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. This is Avion Murphy, just checking in with you. Had an impression today and I wanted to share it with you. I've been scurrying around after being in bed pretty much all day yesterday. I woke up this morning and decided I needed to do my prayers and routine and take advantage of the good weather. So for those of you who are just tuning in for the first time, this is a page about fibromyalgia, but mostly about health and about faith and about working for a good quality of life despite what our circumstances are. So I posted a video yesterday quickly just explaining the origin of the fibromyalgia, and basically I had a catastrophic illness in 2014 as well as my husband, and then there were consequences to all of the hospitalization and the medication and the results of being so sick. And when my husband came home from rehab after several months in and out of the hospital, I had to basically care for him. He suffered just horrible things that happened. But anyway, he was really disabled and had to learn how to do everything all over again, had to go to had to have physical therapy. He had to learn how to do everything. His muscles had atrophied. It's called polyneuropathy, after being in a coma for about 30 days and lacking oxygen because he had acute respiratory distress. It was just a big nightmare. So anyway, he had to learn to do everything all over again, and he had a colostomy, so that had to be tended to, and I had to do all the cooking and cleaning and tending and arranging and managing trips to the rehab and managing medical things and doing paperwork, which is absolutely my bugaboo. So working with insurance companies and working with doctors and nurses and therapists and tending to his care, basically. So on top of everything else, taking care of myself. And I ran myself into the ground, as any spouse would do, as I'm sure you are all doing. I'm sure there are many of you who are caring for someone or even for yourself and overdoing it because it's our obligation. So I ended up getting very, very sick, and I couldn't complete sentences. I stuttered. I had absolutely foggy thinking beyond foggy thinking. Really couldn't figure out where I was going at any given point in time and what I was doing. And just, if you look at me just a funny way, I would just fall into a puddle of tears. But the strangest thing was that my hair started falling out, and it was pretty much evident in the shower, which I was not taking too many showers because I was just really probably 16 hours a day running, taking care of my husband, Joe. So vanity, right? So Joe kept saying, you really should get to the doctor yourself because you're not well. And I was like, no, I'm fine. But guess what? As soon as I saw my hair in clumps in the shower drain, that's what triggered me to go to the doctor. So when I went to the doctor, he asked what my symptoms were, and I told him, but mostly the number one on the top of the list was that my hair was falling out. So he diagnosed me with fibromyalgia, and he put me on medication, and I was an absolute zombie, and I had terrible dreams, and I switched my medication because I hated the nightmares that I was having. And I remember the doctor saying that whenever you're dealing with a medication that alters your brain chemistry, you're going to have those kind of effects. You know, like you'll get used to it, or you'll get over it. I forget what he said, but I was like, no, I'm not. I'm never going to get over this. I don't want to have this feeling. Okay, so enough about that. You'll have to read the book for the rest of the story, or for the beginning of the story. But I had this impression today that I was scurrying around, I was taking care of the yard. It's just a beautiful day here. We've had 0 degrees Fahrenheit for a couple of weeks, and we had snow and ice and freezing rain, and it is it's almost 40 degrees Fahrenheit here. So that's pretty temperate for this area, for New England in late January. And I have been harboring my chickens and my ducks in my basement because their shed and their enclosure, which you can see on the left side of the screen, you can see that it's fallen apart. I mean, the weather has just taken over, and I have a lot of predators, and the predators broke into the shed and took several of my animals in terrible ways that I'm not going to talk about today. But so I had this impression. So I've been in bed, right? I've been in and out of bed, mostly in bed yesterday, and had this deep darkness fall over me. And a lot of it was fibromyalgia, but a lot of it was, I'm not sure. The weather had a lot to do with it. So for those of you suffering with chronic fatigue or fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis, inflammatory diseases, as you know, this weather is just, when the weather is dark and damp and wet, when we have a full moon, as we did recently, when we have these weird weather patterns or extreme cold and changes in the temperature, it just really affects us. And so I thought I can't control the weather, so that's one thing that I need to be conscious of. So what else can I control? I can control the food that I eat, and I noticed that I hadn't really been sticking to a healthy diet in the last couple of weeks, only because, I don't know, just never mind with my excuses, but my eating patterns had changed. So that was the second thing. I can't control the weather, I can't control my food. But the third thing was, as I was scrubbing the basement this morning, because of all the rain and melting ice and the snow, I had a flood in my basement, and I've been keeping the chickens and the ducks down there, so you can imagine it's a lot of work. I was amazed that I was up very early this morning, and I was still able to clean the whole basement and drag loads and loads and loads of wet, soppy, gloopy, yucky hay outside, up the stairs and outside. And I was thinking about when I first was sick and I started posting everything on Facebook, and I started a GoFundMe page for Joe and for myself because we were both home, unable to work. His, I guess the pay that he was receiving, his sick time or whatever, ran out. And so we were desperate. I was afraid we were going to lose our home on top of everything else. So I started a GoFundMe page, and we raised, with the grace of God and with good friends and family, $35,000 on this GoFundMe page, which paid our mortgage and kept us in the house. So I was eternally grateful, and I kept saying, I'm giving God all the glory, because I reached out to prayer warriors, and they responded, and you responded if you were listening, and you were one of those that helped us through that catastrophe. So I was thinking today, the one thing that I've been talking about, that I haven't been talking about when I'm talking about fibromyalgia, is prayer, is belief in Spirit, God, Allah, Source, the higher power. Call that what you will. We know that healing is improved and magnified greatly when we believe in a power greater than our own, when we surrender to a power greater than our own, when we believe that all is good and all is well, and everything is going to be working out, and we are in good care, in good hands. So I wanted to just do that today. I wanted to let you know that one of the main sources of my strength and my healing, going from having fibromyalgia, unable to even climb stairs, taking that battery-operated grocery cart when I was grocery shopping, not being able to take showers, not being able to care for myself, not being able to work, not being able to manage my home, to being able to get up every day and have a purpose, have a job, maintain relationships, healthy eating, caring for others, caring for myself, self-love, self-forgiveness. All of that is possible by the grace of God. Call God, Spirit, Source, whatever you will. I just wanted to just let you know, if you're struggling at all with any of those illnesses, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, inflammatory disease, any of those, in greater, maybe catastrophic illnesses, I just felt the urge that I needed to get this message out today. Prayer works. Faith in a higher power, in spirit, in God, works. Even if you're self-identified as atheist or agnostic, I would urge you to, if you're suffering and if you're in need of some solace and some comfort, I would urge you just to reconsider, to try to consider that there is a greater force at work in your life. If you're needing some comfort. Okay, so I just had to get that out there. I have to finish the dishes and I have to get myself in the shower, which I'm able to do now, which I wasn't able to do 4 years ago. So, praise God. And everybody else, all your prayers, in the prayer warriors that came in droves to help, I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. And I hope that this brings some kind of comfort and support and nurturing to somebody that's listening. I just felt like somebody had to hear this. I hope you're enjoying the birds on the feeder. I wish you a good day. Find peace where you can. No promises, no guarantees. Find peace today, okay? Love you. Thank you for listening. Talk to you again soon.